another esports edition of one of our breakdowns here at FSI. Today we have Eddie back on for another Call of Duty breakdown. We don't get our 2-week lapse that we've had since the last one was pushed back, so we get some action a little bit quicker, which I know for those of us that are playing Call of Duty are pretty excited about. So how's it going, man?
Good. How you doing? Just enjoying the weather finally.
Yeah. So do you think like the turnaround time, not having that week off, really has any impact on the tournament or DFS at all?
Not on the tournament, but I think it might help a few teams like Florida. Like Florida's carrying all that momentum in.
They don't get that time off to kind of lose. I mean, I assume they're still playing regardless, but
yeah, they're all scrimmaging.
Right. So, all right, we are going to get into some odds here first, and then we'll go game by game. And we will talk through what we are working with today. So we're going to start on Bovada's page here. And as we've kind of come to find out, like, even if you just look at these 4 games from a broad perspective here, every game the odds are suggesting that it'll go more than that it won't be a sweep. Even if I look down here at FaZe at -800, the juice is still on the over 3.5 maps, even though we see them as such a big favorite. And I think that just speaks to like the likelihood of actually winning all 3 maps, like just to, especially like search and destroy, can easily just flip the other way, So as we know, that's still a part of Call of Duty DFS. I think that we are seeing more and more non-sweeps and less predictability in that department, where you might be fading a really good play because you're worried about the sweep.
Yeah, the gap is definitely closed. Like on LAN, it was like, I just think it was like 3 times the amount of sweeps as we're seeing now. And all the teams are just getting so much better. They're learning how to play each other too.
Well, that I didn't even think about that. That probably definitely has an impact, playing on LAN and playing the online. So let's start out first with the Florida and Paris game. Florida is coming in at -500, the second biggest favorite on the slate, with an over-under of 3.5, -215 to go over. So we are going to go into our builder here. Let's first focus on Florida. I know at least Awakening, I think he's new to the team. If you I think maybe the last couple games, is that right?
Yeah, last weekend was his first weekend playing with him.
Okay, and he's just like blown it out the door, or what? I mean,
he played really good. I mean, I was surprised. He jumped up $3K in salary. I think it took DraftKings like four events to finally bump Mac up. But I'm thinking he's gonna be maybe like Mac. I don't think he'll keep doing what he did this week. Like you see at 106, 142, and 11. I mean, good numbers, but I don't think it's good enough to be second highest on the slate after one event.
Right. And I think when, and this is similar to other sports, like when I play and you just all of a sudden see that like $3,000 price jump, like, don't be the fish that keeps chasing, then, well, I mean, if you think it's worth it, that's fine, but reevaluate all the players rather than just continuing to ride on somebody that you've been playing in the past. So other than Awakening, though, it looks like we have some really nice prices here for Florida.
Yeah, everybody actually went down in price except for Havoc stayed the same. Pharaoh is actually, I think he was like one of the top 3 most expensive the last like 2 slates, and they bumped him down from 86 to 68 since this last event, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, like he used 10K, over 10K at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, he I don't know why they dropped him so much. He had a good weekend. I mean, I'm definitely like his price point where he's at now. But I was surprised to see that Awakening was the only one that went up after they won an event where they beat FaZe, Empire, and Chicago in the same weekend.
So is this a team that you would look probably be, if Awakening you think is too expensive to target those other 3 in the middle, probably?
Yeah, I like Havoc here actually. I think he had a really good weekend. Let me look at it. Yeah, he had a really good weekend last weekend. Yeah, see, he had over 100 every event or every match. I don't know why they didn't bump him up in price. I don't know if that went under the table or something, but yeah, he had a really good weekend. Skies too. Skies, he's always been like a solid player on this team. I think he has the highest KD on the team. Let's see, Florida. Yeah, he has a 124 KD. That's even better than Awakening, and he dropped a 112 this weekend. So yeah, like I don't know where they're getting their pricing from, but Skies went down from 82 to 76 against Paris too. Paris has not looked good this year.
Yeah, let's jump over the Paris
Yeah,
side. Looks like they have one. Is it Lokwa?
Luka, yeah.
Yeah, as their most expensive player, and then it drops off pretty significantly.
Yeah, I don't know why he's the top either. Duns has been the one that's been more consistent all year. Luka has like that big play potential. I mean, I guess not since DraftKings started doing it, but like
Right,
overall
right,
throughout the
right.
year it does. But yeah, I guess that's what DraftKings are looking at since they started doing fantasy. I mean, not a bad play, but I'm not really targeting Paris. They haven't looked too good at all this year. I think they're one of the only teams that really going online did not benefit them at all. They got way worse. They were already not too good to start.
So, do you think is this obviously the minus 500 suggests Florida's pretty big favorite, but with Paris's form, this is a potential sweeping situation for Florida.
I feel like every week I say someone's going to sweep and it never happens. But yeah,
Right.
here,
Yeah. I mean, if you take that out of
yeah.
it, like
Yeah.
Florida and Atlanta, I'm assuming would be your two.
Those are the two most probable sweeps. Florida, I don't think they swept anybody this past weekend either. Yeah, I think if it's going to be someone, it's going to be one of those two. But I mean, I don't think it will happen because Paris is a decent search and destroy team. Yeah, Florida didn't 3-0 anyone. But yeah, Paris is a very decent search and destroy team. So is Florida though, but I think Paris will end up sealing that domination. They've had a lot of time. I don't think they've played in since like 4 weeks ago, so they've had a lot of time to study up on Florida, especially after this past weekend. Get some info on how to play against them.
Right. One, and that would be like your ideal. If you can just find the team that's really bad at search and destroy, and they just drop that map, but you still get more maps out of them.
Yeah.
That's like when I felt like one time I played FaZe and that was when they lost the hard point.
Yeah, they lost the
and won the search and destroy, then they won the domination, and then they lost another hard point, and then I got 4 maps out of them, but it wasn't good. All right, our next one is a little bit closer matchup here. Dallas Empire minus 245 against the London Royal Ravens. We have Shotzi, I think, as the most expensive player on the slate. And he's coming in at 10,200. Hook, I know, has been a really popular play around the industry as well lately. So I feel like those two are definitely in play. And maybe you can kind of elaborate on them and go if any of the other guys are potential plays as well.
Yeah, Shotzi's slowly been creeping up in in salary since the start. He went from last week he was 96, so it's been a slow climb. Yeah, he's definitely probably the top play on the slate. He's been like the MVP of this team for sure. Dallas though, they're coming after a tough weekend. They got reverse swept by Atlanta and they lost to Florida in a map 5 round 11 to get to the championship. So they're looking for some revenge. I think they're pretty pissed off. They did play really good though last weekend. Just couldn't close anything out. Illy even last weekend, he had a great Sunday. I think, so I don't know if it's even on fantasy, but he had a great Sunday or Saturday, not Sunday.
Yeah, it looks like he played pretty decent all three.
Yeah, he's a very average guy. He's a good salary saver if you need it. He'll be consistent right around the 90-point range. I think they bumped him up in price. But yeah, Shotzi and Hook obviously just top 2 plays for me. Shotzi just has he's just so consistent, so good. He's definitely been the MVP of this team.
Well, when I look at Shotzi here, like his floor since they've started DK or whatever, or whenever the game logs on here is 99, and that was a game that went only 3 maps, and he still did really well. So I mean, I think, and what I know I mentioned to you this earlier is that this is the kind of pricing I'm more happy to see. Is it's just more aggressive.
Yeah,
it's
I like
not
it.
Everybody's sitting at the low 9Ks, and then you plug in the team and you can basically play anybody you want. So this will force some people to have to not be able to play Shotzi, Simp, Celium, and Macmelts and all in the same lineup. So I do like that. We'll provide that. So anybody on the London side that you're considering here? I remember Dylan usually is like more of the
he runs the sub. He has that potential to have a really good day, but them as a whole, they can't seem to beat any of these top teams. I think they're They're 7-2 against teams not in the top 4, and 2-7 against teams in the top 4. So Chicago, Dallas, Atlanta, and Florida. So this is Dallas. So it's going to be a tough one for them. Last time they played was on land. Dallas beat them 3-2, but it was in London too, so it's a much different experience in London even and on land. Get the whole crowd cheering for London. There's not really anyone I'm targeting like crazy here. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind them in some deeper GPPs, but I do think Dallas takes this one easily. If I was going there, I'd probably target 0-0's looked good since he came from New York. Yeah, he had almost over 100 every event so far, except for then one. Him and like we were saying, I don't know, even Weskin. Weskin looked good too. I was thinking of Paris for some reason. Yeah, I was clicking Paris.
Yeah.
Weskin has actually been the most consistent one on their team. Just I don't think from a fantasy standpoint since this has gone on. But he has the highest KD on their team, I believe. I think he's the only one. He's the only one other than Scraps with a positive KD. He has a 1-2-2. And there's just another
at
team.
6,400, I mean, I think if
Yeah.
you think it goes 4 maps, and he could definitely be a viable.
Yeah, definitely some deeper GPPs. He's a great salary saver too. Yeah, he leads the team. He is like the next best is 1.02 KD, so he's got 0.2 higher. Definitely don't mind targeting him. He's just got that's just a team who's just they can't seem to put it together. They're definitely a good team who could make a run come the end of the year, but they got to find themselves before I play them confidently in like cash games.
All right, let's move on to New York and Optic. So we have New York coming in as a pretty small favorite, -160. Certainly favoring 4 maps at least here. One of our favorite players to target. Well, I mean, 2 of the guys I really like here, Slasher and Mac Melts. Let's start on the favorite side first. And just when I look into Mac Melts, I mean, obviously he can have the scoring, I mean, the kill the death stuff, but I mean, the bomb plants and the capture times and all those objectives that he can always seems to be just hanging out at the hard point,
racks it up,
defending, it's pretty amazing. So on their side, obviously, Mac Melts, I'm sure, is in play. What about Attach and Temp?
I don't mind Attach here. He has looked better than Temp has. Temp is one of those guys who he has that potential. He just like we see he has over 100 points a couple times this year, but he just can't seem to find his consistency. Attach definitely has like the big play potential where he could, like we see at 127, 112. He definitely has the potential to drop over 100 kills, and this is probably the best matchup for it because Optic's a game. I think only 2 guys have positive KDs, so they're a team that die a lot, but they're a very scrappy team. But they've looked really both these teams have looked really good these past couple of events. I think this break hurt these 2 teams the most of anybody because they Optic, it was a completely new Optic last time we saw them. I think that was 4 weeks ago in Seattle or the Seattle series. Yeah, where they lost to where's the bracket? They lost to London 3-2 in the search and destroy to get to the finals. So I do think that this will be probably the best matchup of the day. Yeah, New York definitely targeting Mac, and then big drop off in salary for the next guy. Probably looking like Attach because he's much better than Temp, and for only 400 more, I think he's a much better play.
And then on the Optic side, Slasher, I know, and Dashy have been kind of holding their team down, and Quavo well, but
Slasher is definitely one of the top 3 most consistent guys in the league. He's always going to come out, always going to have a good day no matter what. Like, yeah, look at those numbers are great.
That's insane. Yeah.
I'm surprised he's not up there super high with the price tags. Dashy too. Dashy could easily. He's had some really high score games, but he has a very low floor. Like you see, he has a 66 the one week against Paris.
Yeah, he seems to be a lot more volatile.
Yeah, definitely more volatile. Slasher is definitely my favorite target on the Optic side. Don't mind Dashy. I don't really trust any of the other Optic guys in cash games because like you see, like they could have a good day, they could have a bad day. But in GPPs, I do not mind Dashy or even Quavo here. Just price isn't too bad. Dashy might be a little overpriced for his consistency, but I don't mind targeting him in some GPPs. And this should be a really bloody matchup too here. I do give New York the edge though, like the odds say. But I could see this. I could see this one going 5 easily. But this will probably be the one that gets swept, just because that's how it's been going for us.
Right. And even at going 5, definitely if you take somebody like Mac who on that last map could easily put up another 10 to 20 points because the bomb plants, so if you have a player like that, when you think it might go 5, that might benefit them as well. All right, let's look at our last game here. Atlanta FaZe minus 800 against the Ultra. FaZe is priced kind of in the middle. I mean, Simp is near the top, obviously, and so is Celium. But I think we know that all three of them, the top three, have been playing really well.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts here?
Every week, I think I'm going to say FaZe is going to sweep someone. FaZe is going to sweep. I don't think they've done it since I've said it. But this is probably one of their better chances to do it because Toronto, I had high hopes for Toronto this last event, and they just did not perform at all. Because they came in looking really good from the previous event, and just did not come out to play this last event. They did have some mix-ups because Classic, he had family issues, and the team wouldn't let him scrim all week while he was staying at his family's house, which is weird because it's online. A lot of issues with that. So they were scrimmaging with someone who didn't even get to play, and they subbed someone in. It wasn't even him, so it was just a big mess for Toronto. I do think Atlanta take this one. It should be. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 3-0, but Atlanta hasn't played up to their full potential lately, so it could be a 3-1, 3-2 maybe even, depending on what Toronto we get. But definitely like targeting Atlanta in cash games and even GPPs. Always you got Simp and Celium, just the rocks of the team. I think Celium actually. Simp has a slightly better KD than him, but yeah, both of them are extremely viable guys. I think this is Priesta is the only one. This is the only team with 4 guys having positive KDs, so they're all definitely viable. But there's definitely a drop off after Priest and Simp and Celium. A BZ Priest and Major Maniac, not bad plays. Their salary is definitely easy to work with. But yeah, Atlanta here, I mean, I think they're in a good spot to 3-0. They probably won't just because that's how the league's been going. But I do like targeting Simp and Celium this week. Not too expensive either. I think they have. I don't know why they have Awakening more than Simp. Awakening's price tag is just he could. It's just I keep looking at it like, wow, it's so expensive.
Right. Okay, so let's just kind of. I'm just gonna have you rank these top 5 players, or not. You don't even have to rank, but I mean, if you're starting, let's say with 2 of these guys, let's say Shotzi, Simp, Slasher, Mac Melts, and so from Celium to Shotzi minus Awakening, if you had to pick 2 or 3 of these guys, that's out of 5, I guess. I don't know how many we can realistically fit in our lineup. Yeah. Maybe a lot if you use somebody like Pharaoh.
Yeah, I was building. It's not too bad. You could fit Mac Melts and Shotzi in there if you pair them with the right guys. Because I think like you were just saying, of the elites, like the top 5, Mac Melts and Celium are kind of underpriced compared to them. Like 1,000 less than Shotzi, and I think Mac has potential to outplay Shotzi any weekend. So definitely like those 2 there, and then Shotzi's probably the next one on the list just because he's just been on absolute fire lately. He's been so good.
I think when you consider that there just is a higher implied odds of a sweep with Atlanta, but you equally like the other plays in the same price range.
Yeah,
it doesn't really make sense to try to force. I think some other weeks where like Simp was the same price as Octane, Octane's been really good, but some of those other higher priced players that were maybe a little bit more risky, not as consistent, like when Pharaoh and Godarex and some of these inconsistent players were like at the top of the slates, then maybe I think it was the right play to definitely take like Simp and Celium, and you're happy with their floor and you hope it doesn't be a sweep. But I think what you're saying here too, and not that Simp and Celium are bad plays by any means, but you have 3 other players in the same exact price range that have a better chance of not sweeping, who can easily match their score.
Yeah, I definitely think Mac Melts is my favorite play of the week. Optic is just a team who dies a lot, and Mac is the guy who kills a lot, so those 2 add up pretty well. He's been so good. He's changed the team for sure since he joined them. They've looked like a completely different team. Yeah,
Yeah.
him and Shotzi. If you could pair those two up, even a New York Dallas stack, that's probably where I'm looking at for cash, because I think those two are probably most high kill, best odds to go matches.
And I think, and I just since I've started to play a little bit more Call of Duty too, on that hard point, like when the matches are competitive, it allows that hard point to be higher kill to death. Like,
Yeah,
so for people that don't understand, that it's the first to 250. Well, if it's 250 to 100, it's still going to end. Where if it's 250 to 200 or 250 to 225, that's giving those players longer opportunities
a lot more kills
to get kills. So and defending time and whatever, all those things. So do consider that. I know you are maybe taking more of a risk of picking players on the losing team, but if you have a better opportunity to get 4 maps and competitive maps, then that's good.
Yeah, even on a losing team, like we see half the time, I think that's not even that bad of a call. You don't lose points if they lose. Like Octane, he's on the worst team in the league, and he's got to be one of the top 5 performers.
Right, yeah, I think that's maybe part of us learning, Call of Duty DFS too. That you don't need to. It's not like other sports where yes, the likelier outcome of positive performances are going to happen for the winners, but it still can be really based on individual performance rather than just your team winning. So let's finish off with the team spot right here. Obviously, I think if you have the cash, you just go to FaZe. Or Florida, but I mean, is it worth risking dropping down lower than that?
The team size, I think they need to bump these up in price. I mean, it's so easy to work with, but I guess if you have less than 2K, New York's probably your best bet. I think they beat Optic. I don't know why Optic's priced higher. Yeah, I'd say FaZe, Empire, Mutineers, New York, all the favorites this week. I'd target those guys. It's not too hard to work with salary this week.
Right. And I think one thing that I've kind of observed too is like, if you feel like you wanted FaZe, but you could get subliners for 1,200 less, but just remember the range of outcomes for these teams, like even a losing team, if they win some search and destroys and win a couple maps, like that winning team's only going to outscore them by like 10 or 15. You know what I mean? If they get completely swept, then they'll get outscored by 25. So when you're deciding the player that you're sacrificing to upgrade your team or vice versa, just know that the biggest wide of difference that can be in the team slot in Call of Duty is like 10 to 25 points. Where in like League of Legends, that team slot can be like 5 to 6.
Makes a big difference.
So I think that's where, one thing I've learned when I've just compared it to like Call of Duty to League of Legends is that, that team slot has a way wider range of outcomes in League of Legends than it does here in Call of Duty. So don't prioritize your team, but if you can, like Eddie said, the subliners are the cheapest favorite. But if you have if you have the money, 400 more to get to Dallas as a bigger favorite, or 600 more to get to Florida, then do that. But not something that I would prioritize. Not that you should just punt with Ultra either. I'm just saying the range of outcomes are a lot smaller compared to other sports with the team slot. So, any final thoughts before we sign out here, Eddie?
No, I was just clicking through the players. Yeah, it's not too hard to work with if you put like Max, Shotzi, and Havoc as your core there. It's pretty easy. You can fit some nice studs in there.
Good. Well, hopefully
build a quick core here.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys can hop over to our Discord channel. It's free for esports right now. Just go to fsidfs.com and go under subscription plans, and you can click on esports, and it's completely free. We have Eddie's doing Rocket League and League of Legends. Everything is ramping up right now, so it's really great to see.
Big weekend.
So hop on over there, give this video a like, hit our subscribe, hit us up on Twitter. We'll be happy to help you with your Call of Duty builds. All right, have a good weekend, Eddie. Thanks a lot.
You too, man.